Okay, good afternoon. Thanks very much for having me, and thank you for the opportunity to talk about our beautiful island. First of all, let me just apologize to you about the weather. We can't have it all our way. Usually we have over 300 days of sunshine here in Samui. This is typically what we call a bad day in Samui, where it's overcast, beach is all yours. You've got a coconut in front of you, still be able to get a tan, and it's still nice. It's a beautiful place. Koh Samui is an island that is about an hour away from Bangkok, and it has an area of 88.3 square miles, which is around 228 square kilometers. So as an island, it is part of the Chumpon archipelago, but obviously it has autonomy now in terms of its administration. Beautiful place. I've called this home for the last 15 years. And one of the best things about this island is just the amazing people, its beautiful beaches, and the fact that no matter what has come across us, we've had tsunamis, we've had coups, we've had a lot of different things that have actually happened in the kingdom over the years. Weather-wise and politically, it's still a beautiful place where the people still remain welcoming, and even with the advent of COVID-19, it's still been a really, really beautiful place to be able to come to. It's an amazing place to raise a family. I've been raising my family here for the last 15 years, and it's just a fantastic destination. Why Koh Samui? Koh Samui is one of the more strategically located places in the world. It is sitting right in the center of Southeast Asia. So if you can imagine, within 4 hours, you can fly to places where more than 2/3 of the world's population is. So literally, you have access to the world's population within 4 hours of flying from Samui. So it's actually dead center of Southeast Asia, and as business has actually been moving from the west to the east, it makes a really, really beautiful base to sort of launch from. We have direct connectivity with Bangkok, which before COVID was almost hourly. Now with the current COVID situation, you get a flight to Bangkok every 3 hours. And typically what happens is with the reintroduction of the Singapore flights, you've got a flight to Singapore that you can take also. In normal times, you can fly directly from Samui to Bangkok every hour. You can fly to Kuala Lumpur. You can fly to China. You can fly to Malaysia. You can fly to Singapore. You can be able to fly to Hong Kong as well, directly from Samui. So it is a very central sort of place. So if you live in Bangkok, within an hour, you can go from the intensity of being in a capital city to the very relaxed home office or beach office in Koh Samui, where you can still do some work, sip on a coconut, and still enjoy life. Why the district of Bophut? The district of Bophut in Koh Samui is perhaps the most prolific district in the whole of Koh Samui for real estate activity and real estate sales. So if you look at it, it is the main entertainment hub, Chaweng and Fisherman's Village. It is the main launching areas for inter-island travel, so travel to Koh Phangan, Koh Tao, etc. And it is also regarded as the main shopping district and the main educational area where the university is, where a lot of the international schools are actually based. So Bophut actually consists of Chaweng, Chaweng Noi, Plai Lem, Chong Mun, Bang Rak, Bophut Village. These are all part of Bophut sub-district. Now, as a destination, as a location, I would argue that 9 in every 10 real estate transactions in Koh Samui will generally take place within Bophut district. Most people, when they come to Samui and they're looking to relocate here, they want to be within 10 to 12 minutes of their children's schools, of the entertainment, etc. Because as an island life, even if you've actually got a 50-kilometer coastline, most people prefer having the convenience of actually just being able to travel short distance. So having a convenient location is great, and for living, people find that Bophut district is actually the better area for them to be able to be located. Property developers also seem to favor this district because of its convenience. Hotels favor the district, because the sub-district, because of the travel distance between the airport and most of the hotels. So a lot of the newer hotels that are actually just being open now are within the district of Bophut, or sub-district of Bophut, and a lot of the activities actually centered around this area. Most of the northern and eastern seaboard of Bophut, so the east is Chaweng Noi, and then the northeast area is around Chong Mun, and as you come around that bend towards Plailem, and then Bangrak, which is on the northern part of Bophut district, and Fisherman's Village or Bophut Village. A lot of the concentration is around Chaweng and Chaweng Noi now, and Bangrak and Plailem, which are actually very, very busy. Where is the trend going? Where is the future inside this district? The future at the moment is that people have tending to gravitate away from Chaweng Noi, which is getting very congested with a lot of villas close to each other, to slightly more high privacy areas, because of the price point in Bangrak and Plailem being at an all-time high now, where Seaview land is actually anything from 19 million to 30 million, depending on what you have, and beachfront land is from 55 million, depending on the size of or the cut of the land, to as much as 75 million baht per rai. The general rule is that a lot of people are now gravitating to areas which are a little bit more affordable, but we still have views, because part of actually owning a house in the islands is that people prefer to be able to have a house either on the beachfront or to have a sea view house. So what has tended to happen now is a lot of the focus of attention from a lot of owners has actually been towards areas like Khao Pra in the Bophut Hills area, and some other areas inside Chaweng which actually have some views. Of course, the preferred area would be around the peninsula around in Chong Mun, in Plailem, but the price points seem to be significantly higher, and there are now fewer and fewer lots of land that are affordable at reasonable prices, hence the changeover. How long do we see this trend actually continuing? Well, if we go back to the last 2 years, over the last 2 years, which has mostly been during the COVID pandemic, most people have actually sort of chosen to buy reasonably priced land, because on Samui, one of the funny things is we get people asking us all the time from Bangkok or from other places, do you have a COVID deal? Do you have a piece of land that is selling? The owner is desperate and they want to sell. Most of the prime land hasn't actually dropped in price. Contrary to that, most of the prime land has actually gone up in price, sometimes because the Thai baht has taken a hit against the dollar, and the owners want the dollar equivalent to make sure that the price of the land is actually still robust. So because the prices haven't dropped of actual prime land, it makes much more sense for people to buy in new areas. That's why over the last 2 years you've seen a growth of new projects in the Bophut Khao Pra area. One of the most prominent projects inside that area is a project called Kaya, which is actually a top-end project inside there, which sits at the top of Khao Pra Mountain. Newer projects since then that have actually taken shape. You have Amrita Estate, which is Versace themed luxury villas that are going into there, plus their retirement units which are coming in, and some of the latest ones that we have also in that area facing towards Chaweng is Amalfi. So that development is one of the developments where I am part as co-developer or as strategic marketing director for that project. The area of Khao Pra is up and coming simply because at that elevation you have incredible views, but also environmentally you're required to be able to keep a minimum of 70% of your land up there green. So for people that love nature, that is an idyllic place for people that love nature. It's kind of like being in Talingam or in Tongkrut with those beautiful rolling hills, but then you're still inside Bophut district. So you're 6 minutes away from Fisherman's Village, you are 12 minutes away from Chaweng Beach, and you're still within easy distance of schools, hospitals. Everything is actually within easy reach, but you can actually withdraw or retreat back to the hills where you're above everything else. There's no congestion. There's no neighbors shoulder to shoulder with you. and you have living that allows you to be able to have gardens. It allows you to have an area for children to play. It allows you to be able to have a beautiful lawn, and it's all not just concrete, and just amazing nature around you with just some fantastic views that you can enjoy. What is the project all about? The Amalfi project is a community. Now, when we talk about a community, when you get to the site, you find that the land is divided into large plots, subdivisions. These subdivisions are for the kind of people who, number one, want to be close to the city, okay, within 10, 12 minutes of the city. Number two, love nature. Thirdly, like being in a community for the feeling of safety and feeling part of something that's nice and gated. And more importantly, people that just love their peace and quiet and peace of mind. If you're a busy person, you will find that the last thing that you want is to come home to a noisy neighborhood, to noisy neighbors, unregulated buildings, partial sea views because somebody has built in front of you, and no assurance for maintaining a certain standard around a project. So with this one, we kind of instituted a lot of laws, not laws, but rules regarding how the community would actually be able to share the space, what we refer to as the community charter. So we wanted to be able to do up a place where people could still be able to coexist together, but a place which would still be able to abide by certain rules and standards, and things like the type of roofs, the color of the buildings, to make sure that the buildings actually blend in with nature and actually complement the nature, like you can see behind me with some of the hotels that have actually gone with that sort of concept. That was the basic idea. Our idea was to develop an anti-Chao Eng Noi. With all due respect to beautiful Chao Eng Noi, you've got a lot of buildings and there's no feeling of privacy there. So you're still paying a top-notch price to be able to have less privacy. Whereas with this, we looked at being able to have an area where you would be a bit more spaced out and you could enjoy your privacy. In all, the current subdivisions allow owners to build only a certain number of units or homes on a specific plot of land, so that number one, we conserve resources, number two, we maintain privacy, and more importantly, we avoid a situation where you have too many homes inside that area, which is not just a strain on natural resources, it's also just defeats the entire object of actually having privacy. So that is the backstory regarding this particular project. Where do we think that this entire ridge area is going? Well, one thing I can tell you is if you go to any major city in the world, the hilltops of the city, uptown on the hill, that's where the people with the money live, because they want to make sure that they have their privacy and that they have an overall view on everything. So homes of a superior standard will continue to go up to this area because those people will be seeking more privacy. The general trend everywhere is that as an area continues to grow up in price, what people tend to do is they tend to look at newer areas to develop. The reason why they look at newer areas to develop is that in the newer development areas or in new subdivisions or in new plots of land, what happens is that these areas are new discovery, so the price is usually much more affordable. As the first buyer then sells on to the second buyer, he adds his profit in. When somebody then decides that they want to develop the land and make it even more beautiful with a lot more facilities, they add their profit margin in, and then the land goes up. And then when the developer then decides that they're going to build units on it, and they build units on it, they add their profit margin in. When the owner of this unit that has actually been built puts it on the market, he sells to also make a profit. When the person who buys that unit resells it, they also want a profit, and of course the buyer who buys from them, and so on and so forth. Hence you can find that land prices in places like Plailem, for example, and Bangrak have gone from where they were years ago, especially for nice sea view land. If you look at the area close to Chong Mun and Plailem, 7-8 million baht today, you're probably going to pay 19-20 million. Some of the best plots are still around 22 to 24 million baht. Some of them are not even an entire rai. But this escalation in price prices is indicative of how the demand actually affects that. So if you get better neighbors, better homes, better projects in there, the prices normally rise. So this is one of the areas which definitely, if you're looking for a potential high growth area for the future, this is definitely one of the areas you want to consider for your home. We still, as an agency, market property all over Koh Samui. When we are asked from an investment point of view, we will usually opt to offer clients places where they can make a little bit more money. Because if you ask me today, okay, Brian, let me buy beautiful beach land, and I take you into the best areas, say Bangrak, for example, where you have good beach, or where we are at the moment in Chong Mun, you're still going to be able to look at least 60 million baht per rai. If you buy that today for 60 million baht, it's unlikely that in a year it's going to go up to 70 million baht per rai. However, if you look at a new development area, let's say you spend 8 million baht per rai, for example, in a subdivision which has facilities, or 10 million baht in a subdivision, that property, by the time the facilities are in and the first house has gone up, could go up to 15 or 16 million. So the percentage growth-wise is actually much higher, in the upper 30s, 40s, in terms of the actual potential growth in investment for the money that you put in. So usually our advice will always be, look at the place with the most potential, okay, and which has actually got good prospects of good projects in, and which will most likely have better homes in. That is the area where you should probably put in money if you're looking to be able to make an ROI. Because at the moment, with the COVID situation, it's actually very highly unlikely that you're going to make huge returns on rental for at least the next 2 years, because it will take at least 2 years. We're in 2021 now. We're almost in the last quarter of the year. And what you will find is that obviously over Christmas, nothing much will happen. This COVID situation does look like it's going to be with us the way it is at the moment for at least a year. Even if there are plans at the moment to live with COVID, the confidence for people to start traveling back to their destinations and the restrictions in their own countries. Look at Australia, New Zealand, still very tight restrictions there. China, tight restrictions. Europe has got some areas where you have tight restrictions for travel. Once those restrictions are lifted globally, people will start to come back. But it won't be another 2 years before things actually go back to what they were pre-COVID. So the realistic play is that if you're buying a property, you should be buying for the sake of using the property, not for you to make rental investment from it, because the rental percentage return is actually very, very low. Let me just give you an example. If you spend 30 million baht on a property, okay, a 30 million baht property, if you're renting it out long term, you're probably going to rent it out for 60,000 baht per month long term, which gives you 600,000 baht over the year. Okay, that's 600,000 baht. If you get it over a year's rental, when you calculate the ROI that you're actually getting, your ROI actually is quite small compared to what you would ordinarily get if you, say, had spent 30 million baht on a property, renovated it, made it a higher quality property, and then sold it within 1 year, okay, for 35 or 36 million baht. Okay, because that's actually instantaneously giving you a return. If you sell it for 36, it's giving you a very good 20% on your initial investment that you made. Or on the other hand, if you'd invested a portion of that money to buy land in a high growth area, subdivided it, made it nice, put the infrastructure in, you generate a higher return. So in the short term, that's probably the way to be able to go with investments. Okay, to either buy, sell, okay, or buy, develop. For rental market, in a couple of years' time, when the market has actually returned to normal levels, it is then possible for you to be able to look at it if you're looking at the short-term gain. If you're looking at playing the long game, rental returns will start coming in, say, 4 years. You'll be in profit. You start slowly making some money within, say, 3 years, 4 years. But for the next couple of years, it'd actually be very slow. So, that's our advice in terms of the investment side. I think the most important thing that you've got to be able to do is live a little bit and enjoy life. We're very, very privileged here in Samui, and I think the biggest thing behind the living here, forget about the financial investment, forget assets, okay? It's life. Okay, we are extremely lucky. I've now spent close to a third of my life living on this island. I didn't realize that until a couple of days. Okay, that probably tells you how old I am, but I didn't realize that until a couple of days that it's nearly a third of my life. I spent 25 years in Southeast Asia, something I never ever expected that I'd do. But one of the joys of actually living here is that we're our own little ecosystem. Sometimes we forget that we're an island. Sometimes we forget only when we need to take a ferry or we need to fly that we go, oh my God, so I'm on an island. So this 88 square miles is our own little world. We raise our families here. We are born and some people are born and die here, but it's a life by itself. And the multinational mix in Samui is incredible. You've got people from literally all over the world, and what it actually does is it makes people more open to the future, more open to opportunities that actually come by in their lives, more open to being able to talk to neighbors and make new friends, which in other places, because you all live by yourselves, you don't really see the necessity to mix. Here, people are just friendly, and it's very contagious. You want to talk to new people. You want to say hello to a new person because it's what people do on islands. That's the island kind of way of life. So it's a beautiful place in itself. So if you're looking for a change in your life, it's probably a great place to have a change in life. It's a good place to be able to rediscover yourself. The beauty with COVID at the moment, okay, the positive side of it is you don't have to fight to get a sunbed, okay? The sea is absolutely beautiful because most of the hotels are not operating. So the amount of bad stuff going into the sea is less plastic, less effluents, less strange things actually going into the sea. So it is cleaner, the water is actually better. And over here, we have 10 months of incredible weather. And a lousy day, just look at it. Today, it was raining overnight, but look at today. This is what we call bad day. It's raining over in Koh Samui, but it's fine here. We can even actually have a nice chat. We haven't had a drop of water. So that's the major benefit, living. And one of the things that you've got to kind of focus here on is life and being able to enjoy that aspect and feeling grateful every single day for every moment that you have. So for me, the 15 years that I've actually spent here have been absolutely an experience. Having lived in different parts of Southeast Asia, this is by far my favorite place because it's the most peaceful place, and I think it's the safest place. I've always said that the pandemic has just proven that Samui is actually a much more safe destination to be in. I guess that's it. So really appreciate the time, and thank you for having me say my piece today and to just communicate my thoughts about our beautiful island. We provide an advisory service. We're not just a realtor. We provide an advisory service which costs you absolutely nothing for you to pick up the call with us and then just ask about moving here, ask about where you can put your kids to school, what you're going to do with retirement, what you think you should do with the little money that you have and how you can make it last here. We will always advise you because, like I said, we're islanders. We want to make it easy for you to live here. You're going to be our neighbor, you're going to be our buddy that we actually have a coconut or a beer with. So we want to make sure that you're advised correctly. And one of the things I try to focus a lot on is being able to give advice, free advice, based on my own experience on what it's like to actually live here. So I wish you all well. Have a beautiful day. Just going to get back to my coconut and you guys can have a lovely day. Thank you.